Okay. So, today is the first day of the video series Home Buying Hustle. We are going through a few videos from starting this Sunday in regards to the home buying process. My name is Daquan Wrighton with Agent on Realty in Somerville, South Carolina, but we're known all throughout the Tri-County. Today, we are going to talk about credit. Credit is one of the biggest issues a lot of people have when it comes to home buying, and I feel like I will tackle this issue first just so help my clients, help my future clients prep themselves to get started. When they're ready to buy a house, they'll be ready. Quick disclaimer. I am not a professional mortgage lender. However, all the information I'm giving is true, is factual. You can Google it, all that good stuff, and you'll be fine. But like I said, if you want professional information, contact a professional, your local lender. You can contact me as well, and I'll get you in contact with lenders I have, lawyers, and all those good people as well, all right? Okay, so let's get started. First things first, what is credit? I'm gonna always use my notes, by the way. This is straight off of Google definition. Credit is the ability of a customer to obtain goods or services before payment, based on the trust that payment will be made in the future. All that is saying is someone is trusting you with an X amount of money, thinking that you will pay them back later on in the future. And y'all come to the agreements on as terms, interest rates. That's how, of course, the lender makes their money. Interest rates, the amount of money they want to lend you, all that good stuff. So that's all credit is. Someone is trusting you with money that you'll pay them back in the future. All right? So first thing we're going to target is the credit score. The credit score is a basic algorithm that each credit bureau uses to determine their score. So you may look at your TransUnion score and it might be a little bit higher than your Equifax score due to the fact that they may have an algorithm that they both use, but they're slightly different in how they use them. Okay? Your credit score is made up of 5 different things. The biggest one is your payment history. Your payment history is made up of 35%. So, if anything, make sure when you're borrowing money, make your payments on time. 35% of your credit score is made up of your payment history. Next biggest thing is the amount of debt. 30% of your credit score's makeup is come from the amount of debt. So all that's saying is, are you living beyond your means? Are you borrowing a bunch of money from people, but you're not showing that amount of income to pay it back? Not saying you're not paying it back. It's just, if you're lending money, you're just looking like, how are they paying all this money back if they don't make enough money to support how much they're borrowing? So 30% is the amount of debt that makes up your credit score. Next thing, 15% of your score is the length of history. 15% of your score is the length of history. So you may know or ever heard of some kids or some parents have their kids on as an authorized user on their credit cards before they turn 18. That's all that's showing for the kid, that they have length of history for their credit. So when they do turn 18 and have access to go out and get lending from or funding from other places, banks, they have that opportunity because they have such a long length of history with credit. So 50% is the length of history that makes up your credit score. Next 2 things is the amount of new credit and your credit mix. Both of those are worth 10%. The amount of new credit, all that's saying, are you applying for a lot of loans in a short period of time? So let's say you go out and buy a house, then you go out and buy a car, then you go apply for a credit card, then you go apply for another loan. That's a lot of credit in a short period of time. So as someone who's lending money, they may think like, okay, why are they leading all this money? How are they gonna pay all these people back and pay me back? So that's something to think about when you're applying for loans, but you're also prepping to buy a house or a car as well. Don't be too scared because it's only 10%, but it still makes up your credit score. So it's nice to have, get the full 10% of that makeup in a positive light. Lastly, 10% is the credit mix. All that is saying is, do you have a good balance of your credit? So do you have an auto loan? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have credit cards? Do you have personal loans? Different things like that. Do you have a good mix? Because someone may get really good at paying off cars or paying off their credit cards, but may not do well with a larger amount of money, such as a home loan. So that's all it is. But that's only 10%. Not a big deal, but something to look at. Okay? So now we understand the credit report. Let's talk about the big thing. Excuse me, the credit score. Now let's talk about the big thing, the credit report. The credit report is what is used by lenders when they're going to give you a mortgage or not. So from the basics, I don't want to knock anyone's knowledge, but from the basics, there's 3 credit bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. All 3 of these bureaus send their credit report to whoever is asking for it, whoever lender is asking for it, whether that's they ask for one or they ask for all 3. They look at your credit reports to determine, okay, all those things we talked about in your credit score, look at those things to see if you're worthy or you're good enough or you're willing to pay them back in the long run over the term, like I said, the terms you agree with the lender. Your credit report comes out or updates after every 30 days monthly. So let's say you have a credit card, you make a payment today, it probably won't show up until 30 days out or until the next month. That's simple, right? Okay. The credit report has a lot of different things. Like I said, it has your payment history, it has your accounts on there, open and close. It has hard inquiries and soft inquiries. Some people say inquiries, but inquiries. And they have your personal info, such as your social, your addresses, your phone number, employment history. Everything. When you filling out an application to apply for credit, all that goes into the credit report. That's the best way to think about it. Little additional information about those things. Your hard inquiries, those are what lenders use. When the lender pulls your credit, that is what you call a hard inquiry, and it stays on your credit report for 2 years. So once again, if you're applying for a car, applying for a home loan, and a lender pulls your credit, that will be a hard inquiry, and it will be on your report for 2 years and before it comes off. Soft inquiries do not affect your score, but they show up in your credit report as well. However, those are just from people like Credit Karma, or like you get in the mail like you're pre-approved for a credit card. Those are soft inquiries. They like get your broad information about you, and based on your broad information, they tell you you're pre-approved or you have information about you. So that's what a soft inquiry is. Those come and go. If anything, they stay on no more than 2 years just as a hard inquiry, but those come and go as well in your credit report. Personal records. Personal records are actually the biggest thing to worry about when thinking about buying a house and you're talking to a lender about getting a mortgage. Because that, if they're not looking at your payment history, they're looking at your personal records. And that's basically like, do you have anything as a collections? Do you have bankruptcies? Do you have judgments? Do you have liens? Once again, I don't want to knock anyone's knowledge, so I'll break those things down. Bankruptcy is when you basically go to the bank or you go to your lender and you tell them, I cannot pay this back. I can't do it. So you're filing for bankruptcy and they just kind of wipe it off for you paying it, but it goes in your credit report saying that you filed for it, right? That's what that is. Judgments. Judgments are similar to bankruptcies. However, those are court ordered. So if you go to court and you didn't pay something or you have an outstanding balance on something, the court can issue and say, hey, this will be paid. That's so if you come up on a large sum of money, like you win a lottery or something like that, that's something you can't run from. You can't run from that judgment. You'll make sure that get paid. Lastly, liens. Liens are basically a blemish, or like you're trying to hide from what you've done. So a great example is tax liens. People will buy houses and don't pay their taxes. So eventually taxes pile up, and they don't get paid. You may continue to still live there or live in that house or whatever, but your taxes don't get paid. You can't do anything until those taxes get paid. That house will not sell until those taxes get paid. You can post it on the market, you can do it under the table, but once you sit down with the lawyer to sign papers, those taxes will get paid, and that's what a lien is. It's like a blemish. Another example is like a mechanical lien. So let's say those of you who are investors or got investor mindsets, let's say you want to buy a property and you hire a group of guys to put in your electricity or put in your plumbing. You tell them you will pay them on the back end after the house sells. The house doesn't sell. They can put a lien on that house saying, I did the work I did the electricity on this house, I did the plumbing on that house, I didn't get paid. If they put a lien on it, that means whenever that house does sell, you or whoever sells it has to pay the lien to those people who fix your plumbing or fix your electricity. That's what a lien is. So definitely important. Make sure you know if you have any judgments, liens, bankruptcies on your report. Make sure you're aware of those and be prepared to talk to your lender and tell them what it is, what's going on with that, and if you're going to dispute it, get it off, or you're going to pay it, all those kind of things. Next thing, we're talking about collections. So collections is similar to charge-offs. With collections and charge-offs is basically, let's say you was in an apartment and you had your electric bill, and everyone knows in that last month of electricity, everyone does not like to pay the last month because like, I'm about to leave, so like I don't want to pay it. So if you do that and it's getting reported to the credit bureau or whatever, or if it's not getting reported or not, if you don't pay it, the electric company can put that in collections on your credit report. And collections is basically saying you have to pay them money. You owe them some money. They and with collections is a third party collections agency. I'm pretty sure you heard of those. It's a third party in transaction. They will call, those be the ones who call you, bill collectors calling you, hey, you have an outstanding balance with so-and-so business, so-and-so company. Make sure you pay them back. That's what a collection is. Charge-offs is the exact same thing as collections. However, instead of a third party, it's just one party and the other party. So the electric company, whoever you're working with, and you don't pay them, that electric company will call you and be like, hey, I want my money, whatever. And if not, I'm gonna continue to put on your credit report that you still owe us money. And once again, if you're trying to get a mortgage loan, they look at them like, hey, why are you not paying these people back? So if you're not paying them back and it's only $100, $500, what makes me think you're gonna pay us back for a large amount of loan when it's a house? So definitely some things to think about. Lastly, personal records such as those judgments and everything, collections, all those things stay on your credit report for 7 years. So there's two ways to fight those battles. You could either wait out the time, wait out 7 years and it'll come off your credit report, or pay the people and they can update your credit report saying that it's paid, or after you pay them, ask them like, hey, I gave you your money. Can you like take these negative comments, remarks off my credit report? You never know. Everyone's different. Just how the bureaus are different. It's the same thing with every lender you get money from. Every bank will don't say the same thing. So there's some things to think about. I want to say I don't want to cover too many things today because I know it's a lot of information in a short period of time when it comes to credit. However, I noticed some people came in later on or mid of the video. This video will be on my Facebook page and it will be on YouTube as well. Of course, if you have any questions, DM me. If you have my number, call me or text me, of course. Anytime, I'm always available. I thank all of you for coming in to the first video of Home Buying Hustle. The next video will be on next Sunday and we will talk about credit repair. So what I want everyone who's viewing now or who will view later, all this information I provided with you today, take the time to go on Credit Karma, go on Experian.com, get your free account and see what your credit report looks like. So that way, when it is time for you to buy a house, you'll know, like, okay, Daquan mentioned this at one point in time, so let me take a look at these things. I'm not sure what he's talking about. Let me call him and ask him. This video, I just thought it would be a great idea for people to, get an idea what they're getting into before they buy a house instead of actually sitting down with another agent or something and they're not comfortable talking about these things up front or they don't know about them. And that's what I'm doing for my people, my friends, my family, and all that good stuff. So, that being said, I thank you all for tuning in. I hope the video wasn't too long. I hope to see you all next week. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to call me. Feel free to DM me. My name is Daquan Wrighton with Agent on Realty. I'll see y'all next Sunday.